Here's the thing. I draw my own storyboards, and it's not my specialty and it's not easy for me. But today I would like to share with you why I do it, how I do it, and why perhaps you should consider doing it too. Hi there, my name is Tatiana Kim and I'm writer-director based in Los Angeles, and one day I'm gonna be very natural in saying this. Storyboards were part of my work since 2007, from the times I was working in international advertising agency Cray, Young & Rubicam back in Kazakhstan. And we would commission an artist and digital painters to draw a beautiful and vivid and just very sassy storyboards to help us pitch the project. And if we got the client, 80% of those storyboards will remain untouched. They will be part of the final product. And when in 2012 I transitioned from creative department to being a director, I implemented the same approach. I would hire an artist to draw my storyboards, and let me show you how I used to stick draw. So basically what I would do, I would just stick figure very quickly my ideas, and I would hire a professional storyboard artist to finesse the idea and make it more compelling. I mean, you can understand that someone is singing and dancing at the same time, wiggle wiggle. This was my actual brief. It was an animation film. And so I hired a storyboard artist that had to translate this mess into this. Here's another example of my doodles as a brief to storyboard artist for a series of commercials that I shot many years ago. So for many years, I would very quickly doodle and then hire a professional to make the job done. Until one day, I saw a book by Akira Kurosawa, famous Japanese director, and that book composed the process of creating his masterpiece, Ran. I highly recommend that movie to anyone who's interested in art of cinematography. That film is a color study of what we called a cinema. By flipping that book and looking at his vivid and wild, beautiful storyboards that was probably painted by Japanese ink, I felt like I was inside his imagination. I was near art library and I went inside to pick up this book that I saw many years ago, and I almost forgot how beautiful the drawings are. And it's almost childlike paintings that's drawn by a 7th grader. And I still think they're so impressive because of all the wrong proportions and weird perspectives, but at the same time, he was able to convey his style, and it's so bold and very intentional. Instantly, I knew that storyboarding my film should be part of my filmmaking process. As someone who comes from commercial background, I had this limited idea that storyboards should be drawn only by artists. People who know everything about perspective, about composition, about color, and most importantly about how to draw moving people. And of course, the first thing I did when I decided to draw my own storyboards is I took classes. And my instructor, who is a storyboard artist for huge blockbuster Hollywood films, he told us that many times the shot in the films would be exactly as he drew them, and director would not even change a thing. Obviously, high-budget productions do not operate as indie productions, and indie production is where I am. Some might consider that it's luxury of, sitting down and just drawing your shots, and that actually takes so much time. I do think that it's part of director's job to think about shots a lot, in angles and movement and composition. And that's why storyboarding is the part of a creative process, of directing process. And when you come to directing, you come for the creative part, not particularly for the selling part. So it all clicked for me. You don't have to be a painter, you just have to be an artist. And so I start drawing for the sake of getting my story from my imagination into my mind, really into my mind, through drawing. Even now, my storyboards are not so far away from being stick figures, but at least that process now is very intentional, and it's not just close up, medium shot, cowboy shot. Now it's totally different approach. This is a commercial that I shot on Santa Monica Pier. I knew that it's gonna be night, so I really wanted to understand how and where I'm gonna feature it and where my actors should be placed so I could see the wheel. So that was the shot for my director or photographer to communicate that I really need to see the pier itself. This is two different commercials. This is a little bit more refined than these ones, like, because this and this is like 5 years difference. So if this one is very basic, I mean, of course I'm not a painter. With time, when you practice it more and more, not only you become better in drawing it, as I think I've become better in drawing, but most importantly, you are getting better in translating the emotion through the shot. So this one is a comedy. I think Storyboards really translated the comedy part of it. Storyboarding makes a better writer. Because when you write a script, you don't write about emotions. You write emotionally about actions. Don't tell, show what is gonna be on the screen. Yes, it's all about communicating and understanding what kind of shots you want. But for me, it is really about the process of creating the film. Just sitting down with my script, sitting down with my frames and just drawing it and thinking about it constantly, because I have a very limited attention. So for me, being able to draw my frames really give me an excuse to sit down and meditate on my film and meditate on not only how it's gonna look, but truly when I'm drawing it, I'm thinking about the characters, I'm thinking about the dialogues and what's gonna happen in the frame. So for me, this is essential part of my storytelling. It is essential part of me being director. Storyboarding helps me to fine-tune my words. And once I draw them, the words on the pages becomes inseparable from my vision. I truly think about it as if it is a divine contract between the words on my pages and the future images on the screen. I know it sounds a little metaphorical, but it's true. You gotta trust the process. Because you're creating something that didn't exist before. That's why it's called creation, right? It was not there. It once was your imagination, and now you're putting it into a form. Translating your imagination through the first visual image. Because I chose the path of being both writer and director, for me it is very important to create this creative circle where there is no beginning and end, and words and images, they are always together and they very depend on each other. I like more Kurosawa approach. Drawing rough sketches was often a useful tool, not only to explain things to my crew, but also to myself. So when you start putting it from your imagination into your mind through means of drawing, it's not vague anymore. It's not elusive. It's right here. Now you have a thing. Now you know exactly how it should look. Storyboarding is a tool for exploring a human condition. There's one more degree I have that I presented to myself when I was a child, and it's called Doctors of People Watching. I people watch a lot. That's my favorite thing. That's my hobby. And when you're all on your phones, on the streets, in a cafe, anywhere, I'm watching you. I'm looking at your gestures, at your micromimic. I'm listening to the sound of your voice. I'm remembering everything. And of course, that really helped me to start drawing my own storyboards. I mean, if you're watching this, probably you're an artist, and most probably you're doing this too. Everyone can draw. My 2-year-old daughter can draw. She just recently drew her first person. We all see colors. We all see shapes. So I took the storyboarding classes during school because I was about to shoot my film, Trageometry, and it was very complex because I had a fight, I had a bird, I had a murder. I really needed to sit down and understand how I'm gonna translate these emotions and these actions to my team. This is something that I made for my DP, Zach Casares. Yeah, it's like 107, I think, frames or something like that. So it's like it's an enormous amount of storyboards. And this is when my storyboarding journey started, actually. I want to show you closer. So this is exactly the frame that I drew while taking the storyboarding class. It is very simple. It is almost a stick figure, but by drawing it, it was easier for me to come on set and make the fight scene look good. It is almost like a meditation. When you're drawing, you're just thinking about your shots, your script, the movement, the dialogue and everything. That's why I insist that storyboarding makes a better writer. Because when you're actually drawing it, you are thinking about your story, about the dialogue, about the actors, about the characters, and how it all gonna merge together and create a beautiful film. Storyboarding is not about technical part. I'm literally using the oldest iPad ever, and I'm using this very old app that I have, Sketches, that allows me to draw with my finger. So it has many folders. Of course, also I use just a Wacom Pro and Photoshop. It is that time when you sit down with yourself and put on a very nice playlist and you just start imagining things. That's my job. I imagine things. Be intentional and draw with free will. It is the only thing that is required to express your vision, the vision that you enjoy through shape and color and movement. Do not think about technical things because we get so wrapped up into technicality sometimes that we forget that it is a process within the process within the process. Yes, you're gonna get your film done. But sometimes when you find just a simple frame, you'll be amazed how a still frame with no life could be translated into emotional movement. Thank you so much, guys. Go people watch, draw your storyboards, let me know if you did it, and see you next time. Bye-bye.